Hey there, what's up, everyone? It's Carol, your keto nutritionist, your keto coach. I just got back in from the pool, so I just thought I'd pop in here and, just without any filter or anything. Well, I'll have a filter. I won't say bad words, but today I'm talking about salt. Why do we need so much stinking salt on a keto diet? Why you're probably under consuming salt on a keto diet? What are the top 5 symptoms? And oh, hey, let me pull my microphone over so you can hear me. Is that better? Can you hear me better now? Maybe it's not so echoey. Sorry about that. Anyways, today it's all about salt. Hey, if you're watching me, just type in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. So again, I'm going to share with you just top 5 symptoms of inadequate salt on a keto diet, why we need so much more stinking salt on a keto diet, and how much. How do you know how much that you need personally? So again, if you're joining me, just type in the comments. Let me know you're here. All right. So the top 5 symptoms. Can anybody name them? If any of my clients, they should know them. We go over these over and over and over again. So the reason this is coming up today is that 2 different people today asked me a couple of things. So one was like somebody who's trying to follow keto, and they ended up, Penny for sure. Penny, you need lots of salt above 110 temps. Yeah, I don't think we hit 110 here today in Phoenix. We did, what is it currently? Let me look. 99. Well, that was at 10 a.m. It is, and the answer is, you beat me, Penny. Look at that, 109. It's 109 out there. All right, didn't know it was that hot. I guess I'm getting used to it here. I've been here 2 months now, pretty close to 2 months. So, all right, Sherry's chiming in there. So headaches, balance, need lots of salt. Yes. All right, so 2 different people today, like this topic come up, and it comes over probably every single day. Somebody asked me about that, whether it's any of my clients or just somebody that I know. I ended up having an email that somebody went to the doctor because they were having constipation on a low carb diet. And so the doctor told them they should have less dairy, lower protein, and more fiber. Oh my gosh. And another friend also asked, how do they know? How do they test at the doctor to see if you're getting enough salt or not, or what your electrolytes are? So let me first share with you let's see. I don't know where we're going to go. There's so much, because I need to talk about like why we can't test for it, why getting a blood test at the doctors is not going to tell you, or at the lab, wherever you get the blood test done, why that blood test cannot tell you if you're not having enough salt or not. I need to talk about the way that you can know if you're not getting enough salt. Why? Okay, I got to make more of my notes here, because I thought I had this figured out what I was going to tell you. And there's like one more thing I got to tell you. Why labs don't show up. All right, so first of all, why do we need more salt on a ketogenic diet? Let's start there. So when you follow keto, when you follow low carb, your insulin starts to come down to a normal level. When your insulin is too high, that tells your kidneys to hold on to every little bit of salt. Now, think about this. Have you ever had an experience in the past where you went out to eat, you ate a very salty meal, what you thought was a salty meal, or maybe at home you had something that was really salty, and you felt like you retained water the next day? Well, guess what? Those salty foods that you ate pre-keto, those are also very high carb foods, right? I'm not going to specifically mention them, but you know what I'm talking about. If you go to a restaurant and you order something that seems salty, it's always going to be high carb as well. Or snack foods that you had at home. Salty snack foods are also very high in carbs. So what happens is your insulin shot up because of that high carb food. It told the kidneys to retain all the salt, and along with that, your body retains all of the water. So that's why you feel bloated and puffy after you have a high salt meal. But again, that was pre-keto. That is a high salt, high carb meal. So context matters. Okay, so when we all follow keto, we're keeping our carbs really low. That causes our insulin to come down to a low normal level. And what that does, it tells the kidneys to freely release salt. Just let it go. Let it go. I'm not going to sing for you, but you know the Frozen song. That's what the insulin coming down to a low normal tells your kidneys to do. Just let it go. All right, I almost sang. That's bad. I'm a really bad singer. Okay, so it tells your kidneys to freely let go of that. So basically, your body's just releasing a lot of sodium, and so you've got to get it back into your mouth. Otherwise, you end up with functionally too low of sodium throughout your body. Now, why is it that if you go to the doctor, though, to have that tested, you can't find that out? You can't see that. It's because the blood number, the number that's of salt that's in our blood is different than the amount of salt that's in the fluids in the rest of our body and actually in our tissues. So the amount that's in our blood needs to be very tightly controlled. It's between 135 and 144, 145, depending on the lab. So that's a very narrow range. And the reason it's controlled within that narrow range is that if you're going to pretty much die if it's too high or too low. So your body prioritizes very tightly regulating that. And it's a very complex process in your body that it prioritizes putting enough salt in your blood all of the time. The only time that you're going to actually see, and again, that's different. The amount in your blood is what your doctor can order a test for. They can't actually do a test to check the fluids that are in the rest of your body, the rest of your cells in the rest of your body. And so what we're actually experiencing on keto is low salt in the body, not low salt in the blood. And so that's why you end up with all these symptoms of low salt, is that your body doesn't have enough salt, even though your blood is still being tightly controlled. So the only time that you'll see an abnormal number on your electrolytes on a lab test is if something is really wrong, like your kidneys are malfunctioning. It's not something that you're going to see on keto. It has to do with your body's just in a very bad way. Okay, we'll just say that your kidneys aren't working right and so on. So that's the only time you're going to actually see it on the labs. And there's the reason why the lab isn't going to show that you're having low body salt and not just low. It will show if you're having low blood salt, but what we worry about is having low body salt, and that's where you're going to have the symptoms. Okay, so we've got a couple of the comments here that are teasing the symptoms. Okay, so the top 5. Can we do this? The top 5. Let's do a countdown. Top 5 symptoms that you are low on your body salt on keto. Number 1. Should I do it this way? Number 1, my tiny little pinky. Constipation. One of the top ones that people have is constipation. So if you're following a ketogenic diet and you are constipated, it's not for lack of fiber. It's not for too much dairy. It's not for too much protein. It's not enough salt. That's the number 1 symptom. The number 2 symptom, and these actually, you can have many of these, but you might just have one of these symptoms. Ooh, there's Penny chiming in with one of them. So number 2 is going to be muscle cramps. Now, these are in no particular order, but muscle cramps is another one. Typically, this comes as a Charlie horse, calf cramp. Say that 3 times fast. A calf cramp that comes up that wakes you up early in the morning, and it really hurts. Here's a fun little story for you about this. So if you're having calf cramps of any kind, and you're not on a keto diet, you still may not have enough body salt. So my mom started a keto diet about 3 years ago, had experienced calf cramps that woke her up in the middle of the night since she was 13 years old. Also, turns out that her husband, they've been married about 30 years now. He too, since he was 13 years old, also had chronic leg cramps that woke him up in the middle of the night. So when my mom took my my program that teaches how to do keto in a very easy, simple way that's very effective and lasting, she learned about how much salt she needs to get. So she started increasing her salt on keto, first time in her life. Okay, she's in her late 60s. And since she was 13 years old, first time in her life, no more leg cramps. Her husband started it as well, and he wasn't even doing keto. He started increasing his salt as well. Also, leg cramp free, first time in his life. So, okay, so we've got constipation, muscle cramps. Primarily, you're going to notice them in your legs. The third one I'll add here, Penny and both Sherry have this one, headaches. Okay, so this is one of the most common reasons that people feel keto flu is actually salt imbalance. Their body doesn't have enough salt. And so you're going to get a headache. If you're experiencing a headache on keto, have a little salt shot. Within 5 minutes, you're going to know if that's what the cause of that headache was. So if your headache goes away within 5 minutes of having a little salt shot, then you know that's what it was caused from. Okay, so that's 3. Number 4 can be lightheaded dizziness. 5, whoops, I can't get, oh, it's backwards. Here we go. 5 is fatigue. Now, fatigue can be caused by a lot of different things, right? So fatigue all by itself doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have enough salt, body salt on a keto diet, but if you're not increasing your salt intake, if you're not getting adequate salt intake, and I'm going to give you some parameters of like a range that people typically need, then it's not going to hurt to increase your salt a little bit. See if your fatigue gets better. Now, again, fatigue can be caused by a lot of different things. So it may or may not be what it is, but that is a symptom. So if you're inadequate body salt on a keto diet, you will feel fatigued and tired. Another one also that's a little more harder to nail down is cravings. And so a lot of times you'll have cravings or increased appetite because your body actually is just trying to get more salt in. Most food contains some salt. And so you can have cravings and increased appetite if you are low in body salt as well. And so one of the ways, if you're feeling a craving, you're feeling hungry, but it hasn't even been that long since you've eaten last, go ahead and have a salt shot. See how that makes you feel. See if that fixes that appetite. Now, there's a lot of different things that increase your need for salt. I'm going to recommend this book over this blue one right here, which is The Salt Fix by Dr. James D. Nicolantonio. Excellent book. One of my top recommendations. It gives you all kinds of different parameters in there to know whether you need even more salt than what I'm talking about here than just keto. So for example, high temperatures, anytime you're sweating, there's a lot of different things that actually increase your need beyond what you need on keto. So let's see. And okay, I talked about the symptoms. I talked about why labs don't show up. I talked about why we need more on keto. I'm going to go in a little bit more. So this is what happens if you don't get enough, what's happening if you're not getting enough salt in. So your body salt is low, but your blood salt is in the perfect range. How is your body doing that magic? This usually, I tell my clients this, and then they end up going, oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm going to actually increase my salt, because I acknowledge we've been told forever that salt's bad for us, to stay away from it. But guess what? Salt is a mineral. Sodium is what is the mineral we're chasing in there. And that's just like calcium and magnesium. We need it. Nobody ever says like you should have a low magnesium diet or a low calcium diet. Poor sodium just got the bad rap, and we were told stay away from that. It's a mineral. We need it just like we need all the other minerals to be alive and healthy. So we've got to undo that the bad rap that poor sodium has got. So what happens? How does your body make sure your blood has enough sodium in it? But when you're not getting enough sodium in, and when your body is low in sodium. So guess where your backup reserve of all your minerals is, including sodium, including salt. Your backup reserve of minerals, drum roll, is your bones. Your bones are your mineral storage place in your body. And most people don't know this. It's a complex thing that I learned in school. I've got undergrad nutrition and a master's degree in nutrition. We learned all this crazy biochemistry that happens in the body. Oh my God, I don't want to go back and take those tests again. But basically all day long, all the time, your body is constantly breaking down your bone, putting those minerals into your blood, and then reabsorbing them all the time. It has this balance that's going on. And this is actually how, even though you're not constantly putting salt in your mouth, or when you're low in body salt, when you're not consuming enough salt, this is what your body does. It actually breaks down more bone than it's building up. And so remember that. If you have a hard time mentally thinking about consuming more salt, just know that your body's robbing it from your bones, and you're going to end up with lower and lower bone density because of that. Perhaps this has something to do with the fact that we have such an epidemic of osteoporosis in women, in our country because we've been really good at following the low salt recommendations for too long. So eat low salt. Your body just has to take it out of your bones because it can't go in and just pick the salt out and leave the rest of the bone there. It actually breaks down all of the bone. And then whatever the other minerals you don't need, your kidneys flush them out in your urine. Some of it comes out in your feces as well. So that's what's happening behind the scenes. So don't be afraid of salt. Now, I'm not making any recommendations to anyone because there are some people that actually are salt sensitive. Certain conditions, we've found that some people with lipedema, for example, are going to be more easily retaining salt in those extremities of their body, the part of their body that they experience lipedema. So work with your qualified healthcare practitioner to find your ideal amount of salt. In general, for people that are healthy and they're working with their practitioner, most people need at least 2 grams of extra salt per day on a keto diet, and maybe up to 6 or 10 grams. I've heard some people that actually do best with that. And so the way that you find out how much is perfect for you is start at the low end. 2 grams, here's a cheat sheet for you, not a keto cheat, but like a shortcut sheet, is a teaspoon of salt on top of whatever's naturally occurring in your food. A teaspoon of salt per day is that 2 grams, okay? So start there, split it up, don't have it all in one dose, because guess what happens if you get too much in one dose? The opposite of constipation, which is diarrhea. Nobody wants that. So split that up, start at how about this end? Start at 1 teaspoon added per day, again, under the supervision of a qualified healthcare provider, and then just slowly increase until your symptoms go away, okay? Remember the 5 symptoms? If you're having any of those, keep increasing your salt until the symptoms are gone. And maintain. If you have anything that comes up that's in the Salt Fix book, that's right there. So for example, high temperatures, you do a lot of like hot yoga, you have diarrhea or constipation, or not constipation, sorry, diarrhea, fever, things like that you need more salt. Also coffee drinking, for example, the higher your coffee intake, you need more salt as well. The more water you drink, this is another one that's tricky. The more water you drink, the more salt you need to balance that out. So to stay hydrated, it's not about how much water you drink. It's about the balance of salt in your body to the fluid in your body. So if you drink a ton of water, guess what? That actually just depletes. It makes it so that you have too much water compared to how much salt is in your body. We want adequate salt in our whole body. All right. So that's what's happening. If you don't consume enough salt, we talked about the 5 symptoms. We also talked about how do you figure out how much is right for you? Again, under supervision, qualified healthcare provider. And if you don't know, I am a board-certified ketogenic nutrition specialist. This is how I knew this stuff. And also, I've been working exclusively with women, a few men, but women on a keto diet for the last, 4.5, 5 years now. That's all that I do in my practice. So this is why I'm so good at this, why I know I have so much experience, because I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women on fine-tuning their keto diet. So again, we talked about, what did we talk about today? Salt. Why is it that we need so much more on keto? What are the top 5 symptoms? What happens if you don't actually consume enough? Why is it that lab values don't show low sodium, even though you might have low body sodium, and what the difference is there? And so those of you watching right now, just pop in the comments and tell me what was your biggest aha from this? What was your oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I need that. That's going to change my life. So share with me your aha in the comments there. This is what I call the lightning bolt round. So share with me there as we wrap this up. And thank you all for being there and watching. What symptom are you having right now that may be salt related? Join in the comments there. Let's see what you all have. So 110 where Penny is. I think she's in Southern California. So anybody beat that? All right. What you got, folks? What's your aha? What's your takeaway? We're going to wrap this up. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be coming back answering questions for you a couple times a week. So let me know if you have other questions that you'd like answered about your keto diet. Okay, yeah, Penny's saying her aha is about insulin and the salt relationship. Yes. And Penny, if you haven't read it yet, the new book by Dr. Ben Bickman is he talks a lot about how insulin and salt are related too. So that's another good one. It's called Why We Get Sick. Love that book too. Sherry saying her hubby's leg cramps. Yeah. Check it out. See if he tolerates a little higher salt intake and see if those leg cramps go away. They may. All right. Thank you all for watching. That's all for today. We'll see you again soon. Bye.